Leo was not just rich, he was very rich. His father had built a tech company in the early days of the floating cities, and when he passed away, all the money came to Leo. He lived in a glass house on the highest level of Sky City 9, where people wore shining clothes and spoke to each other through floating screens. But Leo was bored. Every day felt the same. He had robots to cook his meals, machines to clean the house, and a sky garden that grew fruit without soil. He had everything money could buy, but still, he felt empty. One night, he sat with his rich friends at the Sky Lounge, a glowing place above the clouds. They laughed, drank colorful drinks, and played games on floating tables. "I bet I could marry anyone," Leo said suddenly, his voice confident. "Even someone from the lower zones. I could turn her into a proper lady in just 1 month." His friends laughed. "You? Marry a girl from the street?" One of them asked. "Yes," Leo replied. "She wouldn't have to do anything. I'd give her food, clothes, a home. She'd be just like any of us by the end of the month." His friend leaned back. "All right then. Let's see it. Go down there, pick anyone, and we'll believe you." Leo smiled. He liked challenges. "Deal." The next morning, Leo took his personal flyer and went way down to the old levels of Sky City. The lower zones were dusty and full of forgotten machines. People there lived in tiny shelters built from scraps. Robots that no longer worked lay in piles like dead animals. Leo walked through the narrow paths, looking around. He didn't know what he was searching for, but then he saw her. She was sitting near a broken water pipe, trying to fix a small metal box. Her hair was messy, and her clothes were worn out, but her hands moved quickly and with care. Leo walked closer. "Hey," he said. She looked up. Her eyes were clear and sharp. "Do you need something?" Leo smiled. "I'm looking for someone who wants a fresh start." She raised one eyebrow. "A fresh start? I'll make this simple." Leo said, "Come with me. I'll give you food, clean clothes, a place to stay. In return, we get married. Just for a month. Nothing more." She stared at him. "Why?" Leo hesitated. He couldn't say it was a bet. "Let's just say I want to help someone. And you seem like someone who deserves a better life." She looked at the metal box in her hands, then back at Leo. "You don't even know me." "I don't have to," Leo said. "I'm offering you something better than this." She was quiet for a long time. Then she stood up and nodded. "Fine, I'll come. What's your name?" Leo asked. "Mara," she replied. Back in the upper levels, people stared when Leo arrived with Mara. Her clothes were dirty, and she smelled of oil and rust, but Leo didn't care. He took her to his home, gave her a room, new clothes, and warm food. Mara didn't talk much, but she looked around carefully. She seemed more interested in the machines than in the clothes or the fancy meals that night. Leo set up the marriage contract through his house AI. The contract was simple, 1 month of marriage. After that, she would be free to leave with some money and support. "Are you okay with this?" Leo asked. Mara nodded. "It's just 1 month." They both signed the agreement. Days passed. Leo expected Mara to enjoy the luxuries, relax in the gardens, eat fancy food, maybe ask for gifts. But she didn't single quotes did. Instead, she woke up early, fixed small broken machines in the house, and asked many questions. "Why is this system wasting power?" She asked one morning, looking at the energy panel. "Your airflow program is running 2 cycles at once." Leo blinked. "I don't know. The robot handles that. I can fix it," she said. And she did. In just a few days, the house ran smoother. Food tasted better, the air was cleaner, and the light adjusted perfectly to the time of day. Even the robots moved more quietly. "You don't have to do this," Leo told her. "I know." Mara replied, "But I want to. I don't like wasting time doing nothing." Leo started to watch her more closely. She was not just smart, she was skilled, and she never bragged. She worked quietly, like someone who had fixed machines all her life. One night, Leo came home late from a party. The sky outside was dark, with lightning flashing far below. He walked into the workshop and found Mara working on something. It was an old drone, a model used before the floating cities were built. "You fixed that?" Leo asked. Mara looked up. "It still needs work, but yes, it was in one of your storage rooms. I didn't even know I had one." She smiled slightly. "You have a lot of things you don't use." Leo sat down, watching her hands move. "Where did you learn all this?" Mara wiped her hands on a cloth. "I lived on the ground, in a small tech colony. My parents were engineers. We fixed things to survive. Then the storms came, and we lost everything." Leo was quiet. For the first time, he didn't feel like the rich one in the room. "I'm sorry," he said. Mara nodded. "You don't have to be. I'm still here." As Leo went to bed that night, he felt confused. He had started this as a game, just a silly bet. But now something was changing. Mara wasn't just a girl from the street. She was someone who had survived more than he ever had, and she was starting to make him think, maybe for the first time in his life. The next morning, Leo sat in the breakfast hall, staring out at the floating city lights through the glass walls. Normally, he would scroll through news feeds or answer work messages. But today, his mind was on Mara. He had expected her to wake up late, ask for expensive clothes, or explore the shopping zones like many others would. But instead, she came into the kitchen with rolled-up sleeves, holding a small energy chip. "Your floor cleaner robot was crashing," she said casually. "Its chip had dust and a cracked contact point. I fixed it." Leo blinked. "You fixed the chip?" "Yes," Mara said. "I used to fix worse with fewer tools." Leo watched her walk to the robot and slide the chip into its back panel. The machine blinked twice and hummed to life, then silently rolled away, cleaning better than before. "Why do you do all this?" Leo asked. Mara looked at him with calm eyes. "Because I want to feel useful. I can't just sit in a big house and waste time." Leo felt something shift inside him. He nodded. "All right. Just don't overwork." Mara gave a small smile and walked off toward the garden. Later that day, Leo's personal AI assistant reminded him, "Sir, the marriage contract is active. You must complete the official registration to finalize the agreement." He sighed. He had almost forgotten. Mara was sitting by the indoor plants, fixing a broken light panel with a small tool. Leo walked over and explained the contract again. "We have to record a few things through the system, nothing complicated." "Are you okay with that?" Mara nodded. "If it helps keep everything clean and honest, I'm fine." They sat down at the smart table. The screen glowed and asked for names, agreement dates, and final confirmation. Leo paused at the last question. "Do you both accept this marriage for a term of 1 month without condition or pressure?" He looked at Mara. She was calm, her hands folded on the table. "Yes," she said first. Leo pressed his thumb on the screen. Yes, the contract was complete. The AI confirmed the agreement and saved it in the legal cloud records. In the days that followed, Mara continued her quiet work. She didn't ask for shopping trips. She didn't want expensive gadgets, and she didn't care about parties. Instead, she repaired the house's cooling system, adjusted the water filters, and even improved the garden's smart light timing. So the plants grew faster. The house, once just full of machines, now felt alive and balanced. One night, Leo watched her from a distance. She had tied her hair back and was working on a broken wall display with careful hands. He realized something. Strange, he was enjoying her company. Not because she was pretty or because of the bet, but because she made everything better. He tried talking to her more, little by little. "Why do you know so much about machines?" he asked one evening. Mara was adjusting a sensor under the Kitchen counter. My parents taught me. We used to live in an old solar research center on the ground. Everything we had was secondhand. We had to fix things or go without. Leo nodded. It must have been hard. It was, she said. But I learned a lot, and I'm still learning. One day, Leo decided to test something. He called one of his friends, Rin, a fashion designer who loved gossip and attention. Rin came to visit, expecting to meet the street girl Leo had talked about. When she met Mara, she was surprised. Mara wore a simple blue tunic and black trousers, not fancy, but neat and clean. She stood with confidence, not pride. Her hands were stained with oil, but her posture was strong. Rin raised an eyebrow. You look different than I imagined. People are often different once you talk to them, Mara replied politely. Rin smiled, half amused. Leo, I think your experiment might be working. After she left, Leo felt uncomfortable. It wasn't an experiment anymore, was it? He didn't feel like a scientist observing something strange. He felt like a guest in his own home watching. Someone bring it to life. Later that week, Leo invited Mara to a dinner party. He thought it might be good for her to meet more people from the upper city. At first, Mara hesitated, but then she agreed. She didn't wear diamonds or makeup. She chose a soft cream-colored dress that fit simply and tied her hair back neatly. At the party, guests stared. Some whispered. But as Mara spoke, their opinions shifted. She answered questions about her past without shame, and she even gave useful tips to an engineer about repairing air drones. Leo stood at her side, watching. He expected to feel proud, but instead, he felt lucky. That night, after the guests had left, Leo sat alone in his study. The city lights blinked outside the glass wall. He opened his message logs and saw the original bet message from his friends. He didn't want to look at it anymore. This had gone far beyond a bet. He closed the message, leaned back in his chair, and thought about Mara not as a project, but as a person who had survived more than he had ever known. Someone who gave more value to everything she touched. He wasn't sure when it had happened, but he no longer cared about winning. He just didn't want to lose her. It had been 2 weeks since Mara moved into Leo's home. The days passed quietly, but not without meaning. The machines worked better. The air felt cleaner. Even the light in the rooms was more balanced, like the house was slowly waking up from sleep. Leo began to notice more changes inside the house and inside himself. He found himself waking up early just to see what Mara was working on. He would walk into the workshop and see her carefully repairing wires, adjusting tiny circuits, or studying old tech manuals from the lower city. She worked with focus, like the machines were her friends. She didn't speak much while fixing things, but her hands spoke for her. One afternoon, Leo came into the workshop and found Mara working on a large drone. It looked old, dusty, and covered with broken panels. He tilted his head. Where did that come from? I found it in your storage room, Mara said without looking up. It's an old supply drone. This model was used before the cities floated. Leo stepped closer. Does it still work? Not yet, she said, tightening a screw, but I think I can bring it back. Leo watched as she connected tiny wires with calm hands. Why fix something so old? Mara finally looked at him. Because it still has a purpose. Machines like this helped people during storms. They brought food, water, and medicine. If I can restore this one, it might help again. Leo was quiet. He had never thought of drones that way. To him, they were just tools. But to Mara, they were part of a story, part of survival. That night, Leo sat in his study, thinking. His house had been full of machines for years, but he never truly noticed them until now. Mara gave meaning to every screw, every wire, every blinking light. The next morning, he brought her a hot drink in the workshop. She looked surprised. I thought you didn't come in here early, she said. Leo smiled. I wanted to see what you're building today. Mara moved aside a cloth and revealed a small metal device. This is a cleaner bot. I designed a simpler power system for it. It can run on low energy and still clean narrow pipes. Useful in crowded areas like the lower zones. Leo sat down beside her. You're really talented, Mara. She didn't smile, but her eyes softened. Thank you. A few days later, a message arrived. It was from someone unexpected. Commander Holt, a leader from the Earth Surface Restoration Fleet. The fleet had been working to repair damage to Earth's land after centuries of pollution and storms. They often searched for people with knowledge of old technology. The message read, to Leo and Mara, we have received reports of drone activity and power improvements registered from your household. Our records show unique tech signatures. May we visit and speak to Mara about her work? Leo was stunned. How did they find out? Mara shrugged. Maybe the drone I fixed sent a signal. Or maybe someone from the party noticed my work. Leo looked at her with new respect. The surface fleet is serious. Mara, they're rebuilding cities on Earth. They only call people who can make a real difference. Mara looked down for a moment. Maybe I can. The next day, Commander Holt arrived at Leo's home. He was tall, with silver stripes on his jacket, and eyes that had seen many storms. He looked around the house with quiet interest, but went straight to the workshop. Mara stood beside the drone she had repaired. This model was shut down years ago, she explained. But I rebuilt its core with stable parts and a custom power cell. It can work again. Commander Holt nodded slowly. You built all this yourself? Yes. He looked impressed. We've been searching for someone who understands old systems and can build without needing new factories. Would you consider helping us? Mara hesitated. What kind of help? We want to rebuild Earth, not the sky cities, but real places on the ground. People can't live in the clouds forever. We need engineers who understand the past, not just machines from big companies. You'd be working with a real team and making a real difference. Mara looked at Leo. Leo felt something twist in his chest. He didn't want her to go, but he couldn't say no. Not after everything she had done. I think you'd be amazing down there, he said quietly. Commander Holt gave them a moment, then left his card. We leave in 7 days. If you decide to join us, message me. That night, Mara sat in the sky garden, watching the stars. Leo joined her, holding 2 warm drinks. You didn't say anything after he left, Leo said. Mara nodded. I don't know what to say. He looked at her. Do you want to go? I think I do, she replied. I never wanted to stay in the sky forever. I want to fix real things, help real people, but, he asked. She looked down. I don't know what I mean to you. This started as a bet. But now I feel like something changed. Leo felt a lump in his throat. You're right, it was a bet. I was stupid. I thought I could turn someone's life around, like it was a game. He looked at her seriously. But you changed me, Mara. You made me see things differently. You made this place alive, and now, I don't want to lose you. Mara didn't speak for a long time. Then she said softly, I knew it was a bet. Leo's eyes widened. You knew? I guessed, she said. But I still said yes, because I wanted a chance, a new start. Leo sat beside her in silence. They watched the stars above and the city lights below. Neither of them said anything more that night. But both of them knew this was no longer about a contract. This was about choice, and the next choice would change everything. The sky was soft blue the morning after Commander Holt's visit. Light passed gently through the clear walls of Leo's home. But inside, the air felt heavy, like something important was about to happen. Leo stood in the garden, staring at the clouds far below. His thoughts were busy, even though everything around him was quiet. He kept thinking about Mara, about what she might decide. In the workshop, Mara was sitting alone, tools in her lap. She hadn't touched the machines that morning. Instead, she stared at the drone she had repaired, the same one that had brought the commander to her door. She felt two things at once: excitement and fear. The idea of going back to the surface, of rebuilding real homes and helping people, it filled her heart with hope. But the thought of leaving Leo behind made her feel uncertain. Things had changed. She was not the same girl who once sat by a broken water pipe. And Leo was no longer the rich boy playing a game. Later that day, Leo invited a few of his old friends for dinner. He didn't tell them about Mara's offer from the surface fleet. He just wanted to see how they reacted to her. Now. Rin was the first to arrive. She looked around the house and smiled. "This place feels warmer now," she said. "Less like a machine," Leo nodded. "That's because of Mara." When Mara entered the room, wearing a simple pale green dress, everyone turned to look. She didn't speak loudly or try to impress. But the way she moved, the way she listened, commanded attention. During dinner, one guest asked, "So Mara, what are your plans after this month?" It was an innocent question, but Leo's heart jumped. Mara looked calm. "I've been offered a position with the surface fleet. They're rebuilding parts of Earth. They think my skills could help." The table went quiet for a moment. Then Rin leaned forward. "That's impressive. Not many people get invited by the fleet." Another guest asked, "Will you go?" Mara smiled gently. "Maybe. I haven't decided yet." After the guests left, Leo and Mara walked through the garden path, where soft lights glowed along the stone edges. "You were honest tonight," Leo said. "I didn't want to hide it," Mara replied. "Do you think you'll go?" Mara looked up at the stars. "It's a big chance. And I want to help, but I don't know what we are, Leo. I don't want to leave with unfinished thoughts." Leo stopped walking. He turned toward her. "I've been thinking about that, too." Mara waited. "I started this marriage as a bet. I admit that. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being a game. You changed my house, my thinking, my heart. And I didn't even notice at first." He looked down, then back at her. "I don't want to pretend anymore. I care about you, Mara, more than I've cared about anyone." Mara looked into his eyes. "Even if I leave?" He nodded slowly. "Even if you leave, I just want what's right for you." For the first time in days, Mara smiled a true, soft smile. The next day, Commander Holt sent a message. "We will be launching in 3 days. We can hold a place for Mara if she chooses to join." Leo showed her the message. Mara read it and nodded. "It's time to decide." They sat together in the workshop, Mara on her work stool, Leo on a nearby chair. "I never imagined this," Leo said. "That I would meet someone like you. That a silly bet would lead to something real. I never imagined anyone from the sky would notice someone like me," Mara said. "But you did. Even if it started for the wrong reason." Leo looked down. "I wish I could go with you." Mara turned her head slightly. "Why can't you?" Leo blinked. "What?" "You're not tied to this city. You can fund your work from anywhere. You don't have to live in the clouds." Leo had never thought about that. His whole life was in the sky money business people. But most of it no longer mattered. His friends only cared about status. His life had been easy, but shallow. Mara was right. He could leave. "I need time to think," he said. Mara nodded. "We both do." 2 nights before launch, Leo took Mara on a skylift. It hovered quietly above the floating city, moving slowly through the starlit air. Below them, the clouds glowed with city lights. Above, stars shimmered in silence. "This is beautiful," Mara whispered. "It is," Leo said. "But I think I'd rather see green trees and rivers again. I want to touch real ground." Mara looked at him in surprise. He smiled. "I've decided. If you're going to help fix the world, I want to help too." Maybe not with wires and tools, but with support, ideas, and whatever else I can offer. Mara reached out and held his hand. That simple moment meant more than any spoken word. The final day came. Commander Holt's ship floated on a long silver platform near the edge of Sky City 9. A group of engineers waited beside the ramp, preparing for launch. Leo and Mara stood at the edge, bags packed. She had one small tool case. He had one backpack. Nothing more. Before stepping aboard, Leo turned to look at the city one last time. He remembered the quiet halls, the robot servants, the empty parties. Then he looked at Mara and saw the future. Not perfect, not easy, but real. They stepped onto the ship together. And as the engines hummed to life, lifting them toward the unknown, both of them knew. This story was no longer about a bet. It was about building something that could never be bought. Trust, purpose, and hope. The journey from the floating city to the surface took almost 3 hours. The ship flew smoothly, but the air changed. The clouds faded behind them. The sky turned clearer, and slowly the world below came into view. Mara stood near a large window, watching every detail: trees, rivers, broken cities, and patches of green land. She had not seen this view in years, not since her childhood. Leo stood beside her, silent, but watching her more than the landscape. Commander Holt came to them as they landed. "Welcome to Earth Base South 12, he said. "This is one of our main rebuilding zones. We restore land, water systems, and shelters. We also protect new growth from bad weather." The ship landed near a wide platform. Workers, robots, and drones moved around carrying tools, solar panels, and boxes of supplies. It was busy, but not loud. People worked with purpose, not stressed. Leo felt out of place at first. He had never been in an environment like this. No shiny floors, no polished buildings, just hard work and clean air. But Mara looked alive. Her eyes moved quickly. She asked questions. She noticed old tech parts lying unused and already had ideas for improvement. Later that day, Commander Holt gave them a tour of the engineering hub. Inside were maps of the ruined areas, digital walls filled with energy data, and tables full of broken machines waiting to be repaired. "This is where we need your help," he told Mara. "Most of these parts are pre-float era. We don't have manuals for them. But you've already shown you can rebuild without needing perfect tools." Mara nodded. "I'll start tomorrow." Commander Holt looked at Leo. "And what about you?" Leo hesitated. I'm not an engineer. I can't repair machines, but I want to help." The commander smiled. "We need all kinds. Logistics, communication, funding systems. You can help organize support between cities and ground crews. Your name still has power." Leo nodded. "Then I'll use it for something better than parties." That evening, Leo and Mara sat on a bench near the edge of the base. The sky above was turning orange, and the sun was setting over broken forests that were slowly turning green again. "I never thought I'd see this," Mara said softly. "Real trees growing again." "You helped make it happen," Leo replied. She turned toward him. "Do you regret coming with me?" Leo shook his head. "No. For the first time I feel like I'm part of something real, not just numbers and screens." Mara smiled. Leo continued. "You belong here, Mara. This place is full of people trying to rebuild. You're not just helping machines, you're helping people survive." Mara looked thoughtful. "I was scared, when you asked me to marry you. I thought it was a joke." Leo lowered his eyes. "It was a joke. At first, a bet I made to prove something. But then," Mara added gently, "you saw something more." Leo nodded. "You changed everything." The next morning, Mara began working with the repair team. They gave her a corner of the workshop, but soon everyone came to her for advice. She fixed an old water purifier unit in 1 hour, and people started calling her the machine whisperer. Leo also started helping. He connected Earth-base to city networks above, managing donations and technical support. For once, his wealth was being used for something good: new shelters, clean water systems, and solar tools for farming. Every night, they met again on the same bench, sharing stories of the day. Sometimes they talked about their future. Not as a contract, not as a promise written by machines, but as two people choosing to stay side by side. One afternoon, while working on a broken communications tower, Mara found something strange. An old black box hidden deep in the machine. It was locked, and it didn't match the rest of the system. She showed it to Commander Holt. "This is from before the city float era," he said. "It may have data about the first storm seasons. We thought all that was lost." "If I can unlock it," Mara said, "maybe we can understand what really caused the land collapse." Commander Holt's face became serious. "Do what you can. If that box holds what I think it does, it could help us prevent future disasters." Mara spent hours trying to open the box. She used tiny tools, old codes, and hand-drawn circuits. She didn't sleep that night. Leo brought her food and tea, but didn't interrupt. He knew this was important. Finally, just before sunrise, the black box blinked. A small green light came on. "It's open," Mara whispered. Leo smiled. "You did it." They brought the box to Commander Holt. Inside were weather patterns, soil readings, energy use data, and secret logs from the old energy companies. It proved that many of the disasters were man-made, caused by greed and carelessness. Commander Holt looked at them both. "With this, we can fix more than land. We can fix trust." He paused, then added, "Mara, you've done more in a week than many do in years. If you want it, I'd like you to lead a new team. Engineers, tech workers, and young learners. You'll teach, guide, and help restore what was lost." Mara was quiet for a moment. Then she looked at Leo. He smiled proudly. "Say yes." She nodded. "Yes." That night, as the wind blew softly over the base, Leo and Mara stood hand in hand. Their marriage contract had only days left, but neither of them mentioned it. There were no papers, no screens, no signatures needed now. What they had was stronger than any agreement. It was choice, it was respect, and it was real. 3 weeks had passed since Mara and Leo arrived at Earth Base South 12. The base had grown busier and brighter. New shelters were being built, water lines were working again. Crops were growing in the dirt that once lay dry and cracked. People started smiling more. There was hope in the air. Mara now led a team of 10 young engineers. Some were from the ground, others from the lower levels of the floating cities. She taught them how to repair old machines, how to reuse broken parts, and how to solve problems without expensive tools. Her students called her Chief Mara, though she never asked for any title. Leo, on the other hand, had found his role too. He created a link between the surface and the sky cities. He called it the Sky Bridge program. It allowed people from the floating cities to send materials, support, and volunteers to help on the ground. His friends in Sky City 9 were surprised at first, but some began to admire his new focus. Even Rin sent a message. "You've changed, Leo. I can't believe it, but I respect it." But with all the good things happening, one truth still waited quietly. Their 1-month contract was coming to an end. There were only 3 days left. Neither Mara nor Leo had spoken about it. They were both busy. They worked, they helped others, they ate together. But at night, when they sat quietly on their favorite bench, they both thought the same thing. What happens now? One evening, as the sun dipped low over the forest, Leo stood near the tool shed, watching Mara teach her team how to fix a water-purifying drone. She laughed at something one of the young engineers said. Leo smiled. Commander Holt walked up beside him. "You've both done good work here." Leo nodded. "She's the real hero. I just make calls and move supplies." "Don't be so quick to dismiss yourself," Holt said. Without your support, many things here wouldn't be possible. Leo. Look down. She's going to stay here, isn't she? Even after the contract ends. She belongs here, Holt replied. But that doesn't mean you don't. Leo didn't respond right away. He just looked at Mara again. He knew now this wasn't about winning a bet. It was about letting go of the old life and choosing a new one. That night, after dinner, Leo found Mara sitting alone in the workshop, fixing a small wind sensor. He sat down quietly. I was thinking. About something, she said without looking up. What is it? This contract. She paused, placing her tool down. It ends in 3 days. Leo nodded. I know. Mara finally turned to face him. Do you still want it to end? Leo met her eyes. No, I don't. Silence filled the room. I never thought I would say this, Leo continued. But the bet, the contract, was the worst decision I ever made, and also the best. Mara gave a small smile. I understand. I want to stay here, Leo said, not because I'm following you, but because I believe in what we're doing, and I believe in you. Mara placed her hand gently on his. I believe in you too, she said. The next day, they met with Commander Holt. We've made a decision, Leo said. We want to continue working here, together, Holt smiled. Good, because I was hoping you'd say that. We're opening a new branch farther north, closer to the river valley. We need a strong team there. Someone who understands machines. And someone who can organize and connect. You want us to lead it? Mara asked. Yes, Holt replied. Together. Mara and Leo exchanged glances. We'll do it, they said in unison. The day before their marriage contract was set. To end, a small ceremony was held, not to end something, but to celebrate a new beginning. It wasn't a wedding with flowers or music. There were no guests in fancy clothes. Instead, it was simple. Leo and Mara stood beside each other in front of their team. Commander Holt handed them a clean paper, not digital, and said, You once signed a contract because of a bet. Now, I offer you something new. This paper is blank. You can write your own promise. Mara took the paper first. She wrote slowly, I choose to walk this road with someone who helped me believe in life again. She handed it to Leo. He added, I choose to stay, not because I must, but because I want to. They both signed. No rings, no cameras, no noise. Just a choice. And it was enough. As the sun set that evening, the base held a small celebration, not for a wedding, but for the success of their work. People gathered around a fire pit. Food was shared. Laughter echoed. Leo and Mara sat on their usual bench, watching the stars. What do you think our old friends would say if they saw this? Mara asked. They'd be shocked, Leo said. But maybe they'd learn something. Mara nodded. I learned that people can change. Leo looked at her. And I learned that real connection doesn't need money or power. It just needs honesty. They didn't say anything more after that. They didn't need to. The sky above them was full of stars. And ahead of them was a future they had chosen together, not because of a game, but because of love, respect, and a shared purpose. 6 months had passed since Leo and Mara started their work at the new branch near River Valley. The land was rich with life-green trees, flowing water, and wide skies that opened above them like a dream. The base they helped build was small but full of energy. Tents had become homes. Water systems ran clean. Solar towers lit up the area at night. People no longer feared the dark. Children played in the fields. Machines hummed in the background as engineers, many trained by Mara, kept them running. Leo had changed. He wore simple clothes, boots with mud on them, and a radio clipped to his belt. His once smooth hands had small scars now. He didn't mind. He wasn't the same millionaire who once lived high above the clouds. One morning, as the sun rose above the valley, Mara walked to the field where Leo was helping fix a broken ground sensor. She held a datapad in her hand. We received a message, she said. Leo looked up. From who? Sky City 9. They're asking you to return for a ceremony. Leo stood up, wiping sweat from his face. What kind of ceremony? They're giving awards to young leaders. Your name is on the list. Leo raised his eyebrows. That's unexpected. They want to honor your Skybridge program. Supplies from the floating cities have helped over 7 bases now, she said. Leo smiled, but it was a small smile. I didn't do it alone, Mara nodded. Still, they want you to speak. Leo looked out at the valley, then back at Mara. Will you come with me? She nodded. Of course. A week later, Leo and Mara stood inside Sky City 9's grand Central Hall. It was made of glass and steel, shining under white lights. People wore clean clothes. Robots moved quietly, serving drinks. It felt like a different world. Leo wore a dark, simple coat. Mara wore a long gray tunic, nothing fancy. But she looked calm and strong. People whispered as they passed, "Is that the girl he married? She used to live on the ground, right? Did you hear how she helped fix the farming systems?" Some stared, some smiled. Some didn't know what to say, but Mara walked beside Leo like she belonged there. The ceremony began. The host, a tall man in a silver robe, read names from a glowing board. One by one, young inventors, leaders, and scholars walked up to accept medals and give short speeches. Finally, the host called, "Leo." People clapped. Leo walked to the front. He looked at the crowd, took a deep breath, and spoke. I came here today not to talk about myself, but about what I've learned. Months ago, I married someone as part of a contract. It started as a game, a silly bet. There were a few murmurs in the crowd, but that girl, Mara, was not what I expected. She was kind, smart, and stronger than I ever was. I thought I was helping her, but actually she helped me. Leo paused. I used to live above the clouds, thinking I was better than others because of money. But real strength isn't about floating cities or rich names. It's about people who fix broken machines with their bare hands. People who teach others. People who care. He looked at Mara in the crowd. She helped me change. Together, we built something real, not for status but for life. He ended with a quiet sentence. I'm not going back to who I was. I've found where I belong now. The room was silent. Then, slowly, people started to clap. Some stood. Others wiped their eyes. It wasn't a fancy speech, but it was honest. And that was enough. After the ceremony, many guests came to meet them. Some offered to invest in their base. Others asked how they could help too. Even the city council requested to visit River Valley. Mara stayed close to Leo. She spoke politely, but didn't lose her calm. When the crowd cleared, they stood on a balcony overlooking the city. It's strange, Mara said. Everything looks smaller now. Leo nodded. We've changed. That's why. She turned to him. Do you miss this place? He shook his head. I miss the person I thought I had to be here. But not the place itself. Mara smiled. Ready to go home? Yes, he said. Home is the valley now. Back at the base, life continued. The river still ran gently. Children still played. The stars still shined above them. A few days later, Leo and Mara sat by a small fire with some of their team. We have some news, Leo announced. The city council wants to send more help tools, builders, even teachers. And they want to open 3 more Earth bases next year. People cheered. Mara added, but we need leaders. Not from the sky but from here, people who know the ground. She turned to one of her students. Sammy, how would you like to lead one? The young girl blinked. Me? You're ready, Mara said. And like that, a new chapter began, not just for Mara and Leo, but for many others. That night, Mara and Leo walked quietly through the field. You once asked me what would happen after the contract ended, Mara said. Leo chuckled. And you said, we'll find out. Well, we found out, she said. He took her hand. And I'm glad we did. They reached the river's edge where moonlight touched the water. The air was cool, but not cold. The land was quiet, but not empty. I never dreamed my life would turn out this way. Mara whispered. Me neither, Leo said, but I'm glad it did. They stood side by side, not as a rich man and a poor girl, not as a project or a joke, but as partners who chose each other, who grew together, and who built something far greater than either had known before.